Hey guys, welcome back to the Between Takes podcast. This is our episode 9. Hart, how's your quarantine?
It's so good. I've been reading this, which I love. I'm only like a little bit in, but it's really sick.
That's awesome.
Like this book. And, just the regular sides. Probably gonna have to cut that. Probably can't show sides. What about you, Bub? What have you been up to?
I started taking up golfing.
Everyone's taking up golfing right now. I just talked about that with somebody today.
Yeah.
What's the deal there? Golfing sort of seems like it fits in your arsenal of cam weapons.
Listen, with your body breaking down, it might be the only sport you're going to be able to play.
I know, right? Where you just have to stand still.
Yeah. No, dude.
Swing your hips.
It's so frustrating, man. It really is.
I saw some footage of you with Graham, and you
what?
You whiffed a few times.
Yeah. I'm whiffing on about 50% these days.
Sure. Have you seen Charles Barkley's swing?
Yeah. He's got a broken swing. That's not
good. Yeah.
So good.
Well, that's fun. Let's go play like shitty golf together.
I'm down. It'd be great. We got to buy like 20 balls because we're going to lose them all.
Oh, yeah. We're going to need a ton.
Yeah.
My dad has a ton of golf balls.
Right,
he has hundreds of golf balls.
Have him send them all over.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah.
He keeps them in like giant egg crates stacked on top of each other.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should go to the driving range and like get our swings right though first, I feel.
You need a lesson.
Yeah, I haven't played golf in a long time, but I remember my drive had a lot of slice. Like it was going on to the other holes, which is you don't want that.
It's so nice when it goes in the air and then you see the immediate curve.
It just tails.
And I hit someone doing that one time.
Nice.
Yeah.
My first not my first, but one of my first jobs in LA was working at the Los Angeles Country Club. LACC. Yeah.
They have golf there?
Yeah, dude. It's like one of the most like legendary golf courses in like California, is what I was told. I think the Playboy Mansion is on that course. Well, anyways, today our guest on the podcast is my dear friend Skylan Brooks. He is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful human being. Just a beacon of light, just so happy and professional and good at his job. We just recently did a film together called No Running that hopefully will be out soon. And the best part of that whole film was all the time that we got to spend in between the takes. We had a lot of fun, a lot of laughing while shooting a very tough subject. It was at least some of the scenes were very charged with a lot of issues that are very present in today's world. So he was graceful with his handling of the film, and we had the best time. You guys might know Skylan from the inevitable defeat of Mr. and Pete, or the Netflix series The Get Down. Be sure to like and subscribe on the Himalaya app. So you can get every episode as they come out, and check it out on YouTube so you can watch it on the Between Takes podcast. Skylan, welcome to the show. We're happy to have you.
What's up, man?
Oh man, just kicking it, man, quarantining, but also, getting ready for press for these just a flick that's gonna come out pretty soon. But other than that, man, just chilling, gaming, writing, doing little things here and there. How about y'all?
Man, we've done what episode is this for us?
I think this is 9.
9, yeah. We've started
9
and 10. Yeah, we started this a couple months ago, and we've just been doing this about once a week, which has been it's been interesting to see. We've been doing it over the progression of this whole pandemic, and the people we had on in the beginning, it was just starting, and now we're kind of getting to a place where people are going back to work. So Yeah, I feel like it's exciting. Things are finally starting to kind of happen in this field for us again, which is what we've all been sort of waiting for.
No kidding, man. For
Yeah.
real.
Have you been doing
That's
ADR?
great though.
Yeah. Have you been doing ADR at your house? Like just where you're at?
Yeah, I've been doing it. Yeah, like depending, they'll send me like equipment depending on like how the setup works or what they're working with at the time. And then just recently, like I would say like starting a couple weeks ago, they started to actually bring us back in to record inside with them. So very strict mask on regimen, but
Yeah.
It's almost back to normal in a sense, sort of.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sky and I met on a film that we did a couple months ago, which was a fun time. I liked it a lot.
Man.
It was a cool crew and set, and you and I had a blast. And
what's that? I feel like I missed out on something with that laugh.
No, we just I just everything I did on that set was just to always try to break him when he was really in it, which was so fun. Because Sky's a great actor, but I was just always just doing the most ridiculous things. You know how I act sometimes. And we had a good time. It was fun.
For real, man. It was fantastic, man.
Yeah.
He was one thing about Hart, man, is that he's a great scene partner, man. Like he's like really he jumps into it. He's on his stuff. But like once the scene breaks, it's like it's that good mixture of good energy and like work ethic at the same time. Like he's overall just a good dude, man. He's a good guy.
Thanks. I feel the same way about you. It was a fun time. It felt too short. I mean, it felt like we shot that so quick. I mean, you shot more of that than I did, but I feel like I would have loved so much more time to shoot with you on that. I feel like we didn't even get to as much as I'd hoped we were going to.
I feel the same way, and I was talking to, the director, Delmar, and I still we talk all the time, and I tell him like, even on set when we kind of passed up all the scenes that we had together for the most part until the house scene at the end, like I was like, are you sure there's no way, somehow we could just right in there, like we lock eyes at like the liquor store or something, and it's like like something small, something to kind of keep, we had a lot of great actors and like characters that I wish we could have reoccurred like more, like appear more in the film. But overall, like everyone did a fantastic job for sure.
Have you seen any cuts of it?
I've seen a couple cuts. Well, when I say cuts, I mean one. But keep it on the low. But it's almost on. It's where it is now. I just checked back with them, and they're almost done. Like it's at the very tail end of it. So
cool.
Hoping for some more news soon. But it looks really good. They're adding the FX and stuff right now.
Good.
Congrats, fellas. That's awesome.
Exciting. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, man.
Where are you from? How'd you get into it?
I was born in Torrance, California. But I went to school in South LA. I hate to use this word, but my formative years, I was going from South LA into downtown LA to Cal State, to a performing arts school. Like high school is where I really kind of stuck into the arts more as far as like bridging theater and acting together. But if I had to go back, I'd say that I've professionally been acting since like 7. And since then, it's just gradually gotten to a bigger plateau as I move forward.
What made you want to start?
I'm gonna just tell it straight, man. I wasn't into acting at all. My mom threw me in a pageant. I mean, the world's gonna see this, but anyways, we did that, and it turned into modeling and went to commercials, and they just kind of saw I had a knack for it. I really didn't care for it at the time, but when I got older and I started to really like put time in and really go to acting classes and whatnot, it kind of stuck for me. And I think around 13, 14 is when I realized like, okay, this is something that I can turn into a career, and people who started to, come to me and really be like, well, would you do this and do that? And I'm like, well, at that time, I would say I really took it serious, and 15, 16 is where I really kind of jumped over the kind of things that I'd done.
Do you think that do you think you became that because your mom put you in that, or do you think she saw something in you before you could see it?
A little bit of both.
Sure.
She actually told me that she said that she was kind of just throwing me in things, like how, our parents just throw us in soccer or football,
Sure.
Rugby, whatever. And she put me in music and dancing, and acting was dead last. Acting actually picked up last. I was actually dancing professionally before I was even acting. So when I got the call for like a show or a commercial, it was like by surprise. And she kind of was like, over time, when she kept putting me back in things, when one thing would always pull me in another direction, and then it would always come back to the acting, oddly enough. And she kind of saw it, but she couldn't call it.
But she encouraged it.
She definitely encouraged it. My dad encouraged it. My family over time kind of was like, oh, he's kind of good at it, that kind of thing.
What was your first thing that kind of made you realize, oh, yeah, I could really do this?
I would say, the thing that everybody was like, oh, little black kid in the Kool-Aid commercial. And I got a Kool-Aid. That was my first job. That was my first job. Kool-Aid commercial. And it shot in the hood. I mean, it was like a basketball court down the street from my house, from where I was at the time. And I was shooting it, and I didn't know the internet was like that hateful, but like they just had so many jacked up things to say about a kid in a black kid with a huge afro in a Kool-Aid commercial. But over time, that was the first thing that everybody was like, oh wow, he's really doing it. But then the one thing that actually jumped and made people recognize like I actually was skilled, and I used the years of like acting lessons and whatnot for was I believe Mr. and Pete, The Inevitable Defeat of Mr. and Pete, which was with Lionsgate and George Tillman.
And you were the lead of that movie, right?
Yes. I was lead.
So did you feel a ton of responsibility going into that experience, like based off the way you grew up and your upbringing?
Oh yes, 100%. I actually felt like there was I actually put the world on my shoulders, and I internalized a lot of things around me in order to get into that character, because part of me could relate. And one thing that we did for that film, which was actually a funny thing about that whole process, was and this is a testament to what the grind is for us as actors, and like persevering in this life in general, is I went in for the audition, and originally I'd actually got it, but they had switched entire productions. So they had forgot all about me. And so I found out that they were re-auditioning the role. And I said, hey, didn't I get that? And so my dad was like, hey, yeah, you did. I was like, well, let's go see what's going on with the production. And so they made me re-audition again, fight for like a couple months, didn't even hear anything, got a call out of the blue. A couple months later, said we want to do a director session. And I did the director session, and George was like, that's the kid. Apparently, you know, from behind the scenes conversation. And I did feel like it was a very big responsibility because I felt like it was a story that needed to be told. And besides that, I felt like a lot of it's kind of weird how I described it, but I felt like for those who were less fortunate, it felt like their hopes were riding with me. And so I really internalized that for my character. We went into the projects in New York. We actually watched characters that were written and pulled from those in real life. Not specifically, but like, you know, a homeless man on the street. We would, you know, tail him and watch his body movements and how he threw things away, or his facial expressions, and you know, a mother and her child, you know, going around and just go shopping, you know, walking around, and it's people watching on an actor level, you know, where it's like you want to take that and make it as real as possible, because this story without authenticity can't be told correctly, you know. So I did feel a big weight on my shoulders, and I carried it that way for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. That's a ton of responsibility at such a young age. You know, most people at that age are having their first kiss in 6th, 7th grade, and you know, you're tailing people for the lead of a movie. I mean, that's a lot of responsibility, and you definitely have to, you know, have your shit straight, frankly, to be able to do that.
You're
speaking facts, man. That's very true.
Yeah. So then after that, what was up for you after that? How'd your world change a little bit after?
That's a great question. So what people don't understand for us is, I feel like, especially at that time, was people learning that I was doing something of that caliber and then going back to school. Like people don't even know like what you're really doing, or like what it looks like till it comes out and how much work goes into it. And then all of a sudden it's like, that's the one thing I had lined up. I had done it. It felt like a piece of me was there, and then having to go right back into school. I think I was in 8th grade, and I remember sitting in math class like, wow, I just did a movie over the summer, and I'm like, like it's comedy to me. It's like the way people treat you was like, oh, you should be famous, or you should be this, and it's like, no, guys, it's not like that. Like, this is a craft. Like, this is telling a story about people who are forgotten, and in hopes that this enlightens people to never forget and treat them with kindness. Like, this is heartfelt. So whether it's not about money or anything or whatever it was, but it's about you diligently being the best human being you can be. And so when I came back to school, I did school for the next year. The movie came out. I believe it went to Sundance, and it was a late entrance, so it couldn't go through the whole process. It only was able just to be viewed and shown, and the reaction I got was great, which led me to a year or two later, The Get Down. So that was a whole nother journey on its own. But that one was the one I would say actually put me on the map. If I would just say, like, I was older, people were able to recognize me. I kind of grew out of my Mr. and Pete's little tiny face, and people were just like, they were able to recognize me on a scale of Netflix, which was growing at the time.
Yeah, that was massive. It was a huge huge show. Like, it was everywhere.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like, I still couldn't believe. I remember the day it came out, and me and my castmate, his name was TJ. He played Boo Boo in the show, my younger brother. And we were walking around Times Square, and we were like, yo, I wonder if anybody's gonna recognize us. That was the first time I ever had said to myself, I think people are gonna see us. And the funniest thing was that day we were driving. Our parents were we were just riding around the city, and we stuck our heads out the window, and these group of girls actually looked and said, "Hey, you're from the Get Down," and I was like, "We made it, boy!" It was so much fun. All that work in and like actually kind of be like, oh, people recognize you for this, you know?
Yeah.
Was there a lot of dancing in that show?
Yes, a lot more than I had expected when I first auditioned.
But do you think your mom putting you in those classes as a kid, I mean, that totally comes full circle with that.
I see what you did there. I see. 100%, man. I think it was easier for me to actually pick up on the moves a lot quicker. Like I actually didn't have trouble learning choreography or doing the notes or singing or anything like that. My mom also did put me in the choir when I was younger, so it was like a lot of that helped me out down the line more than I ever thought it would.
Yeah.
When I was, I guess, I mean, I wasn't homeless, but I didn't have a home base. I sort of lived out of a car and I would sleep on different couches. So I guess I was home baseless. A few weeks or a few months.
You explain it.
A few weeks or a few months in the summer before I got Riverdale, I was living in Venice at this artist compound called Winston House, where they have like a few artists like stay there whenever they're in town working on things, or if they're just, it's kind of like people were passing through. It's not what it is now. Now it's more of a production company, but it used to be this house that would have people. And Shamik and I lived there at the same time. He's great. Loved him. He's wonderful.
Man, I always think about that. I was like, wow, you knew Shamik probably before I did.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like to see the trajectory. Like, first of all, I have so much respect for you, man. Like, I don't know. I don't want to be gushy or anything, but I'm like, you're my guy, man. Like, I appreciate you, dog, and and your climbing and your perseverance to do what you're doing right now. You know what I'm saying? And to like that story means a lot, for real.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
The best part of it is getting to work with people like you now. Like really shooting that film. Like, yes, the outcome is great, but like the best part of it was our just camaraderie on set and how much fun we had. Like that was the best part of it to me. I don't even really, the end result that's out of my hands. But the best part of it all, like during it, was just our scenes and in between our scenes and those long, like cold nights. Like it was a blast. It was a blast.
It was absolute comedy, man. It was like, those are the things that I live for on a set. Like when you go into production and you see the people that you're going to work with, your biggest hope is just that you guys all really genuinely gel and get along and like have a good time and know that this is like fun. There have been some times, I'm sure we've all experienced moments where it's like it's been stale or, people won't really open up. And I mean, of course, people may have their reasons and that's fine. But I mean, we're all here struggling together.
Exactly.
Late nights, early calls.
Yeah. And play and make believe, like we're doing something that like it's a crazy job. Like it's not, let's just have fun with it.
It really is.
Even when it's super serious stuff that we're having to do, I think the comedy you can find in between stuff is so life-saving in those situations. I think it's really great. And you and I were able to do that. You and I were having to shoot some stuff that is, especially right now, like during this time, like is with everything coming to light with how divided so many things can be. Like our film highlights a lot of that.
For real.
And that stuff was very hard to shoot. That wasn't easy to shoot. And you and I have, had such a wonderful time in between things, but during those scenes, it was really tough to have to go to that place. So I think if you can keep things light and, develop a relationship with people in between where you're having to shoot these things, I think it's very important.
100%, 100%. And, to open that can of worms and the volatility that it can remind people of, like there's a lot there's so much to the story that it's like everyone needs to be open-minded to work the craft. We're not going to bring anything to the table that's going to make people feel, always comfortable.
Right.
There's got to be a shift in there somewhere, and our film definitely brings that to light in a sense where it's like everyone can relate in some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree. But you carried that whole thing on your back, and you did a really, really great job with everything that I saw. At least I didn't see the whole film, I didn't see you do everything, but from what I saw you handle and the scenes that we had to do, you handled them with such grace and such conviction, and I can't wait to see it.
Thank you, man. You too, my friend. You did a fantastic job. By the way, I did tear up a little bit on a part. But we're not going to talk about that. You did good, man. You did good.
Oh, thanks, man.
Be proud.
I appreciate it.
I'm excited to see it, boys.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, man, I want to hear more about you, man. So, like,
this is about you today. We can catch up outside. It's about you. It's not about me.
Sky, will you walk us through some of your worst auditions that you've ever had?
Man, not the worst.
No, because every actor that is listening to this and aspiring to be in this industry has to know, like, it's a real thing. You do have terrible auditions, and it's okay. You just have to keep going.
This is also something that we do on every episode.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah.
I love that. My worst audition. I gotta think back. I think like I kind of did trash on a few. Let's see. There was one where I had to. I believe it was a dialect. These kill me. These kill me every time. It was a Southern accent. I don't know exactly. There was two. One I actually have to applaud myself on. I did pretty good, but I didn't get it. But the Southern one was I don't know. I forgot what film it was for. It's a film that's actually coming up. I think one of my friends actually auditioned and got it, which was hilarious. But yeah, I had to do a Southern accent, and I had to have a body movement along with it. And I was trying to figure out how to incorporate what I do on each line to a T. And it was like I was going insane. I mean, it looked like I had something going on, but yeah, that was probably my words. Like every other word I would be like, I'm not gonna do it. It was bad.
Yeah, dialects are tough because it's like adding a third element. It's really tough. They're hard.
It is tough.
They're brutal.
Yeah, man, super brutal.
It doesn't sound like it went that bad.
It was that bad, bro. It was that bad. It was that, and especially in my opinion, because like I just recently, like the past couple years, I haven't watched too much of what I do, only to kind of keep my head a little fresh. I used to be able to sit and watch myself, but after like, I think it was like 2017, or no, it was 2018. I just said to myself, you know what? I'm not gonna watch myself and critique, because I actually found myself like I could have done that differently, and I never used to do that.
Yeah.
But now I think you have to kind of leave it as is and understand that, you know, like that piece is a piece of you at that time. And now you move on to transform into the next thing.
Yeah. I mean, stuff's so delayed that it's like, it takes forever for something to come out. It's so hard to then go back and judge something that you did when you might not even remember like what exactly was going on or which take they chose from something that was months or years ago. It's you'll rack your brain on what could have been different. I think it's different when you can watch like a daily and see exactly, you know, from the day, and then you can see that and say, oh, okay, I can change that tomorrow because I'm doing, you know, I could see something I was doing wrong. But when it's like a month or 2 months or a year, it's like, what am I supposed to do about this? Like,
Yeah,
nothing I can.
Yeah, you have no control over what they choose. So it's like you might have done that thing that you're thinking about, you wish you did when you actually did it, but they just chose a different take. So
yeah,
exactly.
You know,
exactly. It's man, it is what it is. That's kind of the best way to describe it. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
You know, our podcast, just kind of going back to your and Hart's experience, like it's called Between Takes because it's basically everything that happens between the takes and the acting. And I feel like this episode is a great reflection of our podcast just because of your guys' relationship and how that happened between the takes. And that was the best part of, you know, the movie.
Yeah, it was truly. Skylan, thank you so much for coming on. You're the best.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate you reaching out, man. It was a fun time, man.
Of course.
Man. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you guys, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a good one. Till next time.
I'll text you. See you, brother.